I'm going to be talking about the Oakeshott thing again, because there's new stuff coming up every day. And there's one particular thing that's come up, which is important to everybody in the world, everybody who, in any country that has a government that's of any official use at all. This is really important. And it's something, this is a revolution. This really is, we all knew the sort of thing that's coming out, but this is like a sort of in-your-face analysis of what goes wrong in government when government is given too much power. And for that reason, it's important to talk about it. It's important to study it. And even more important, it's important that the left is not allowed to suppress it, because that's what the left is trying to do. And that's why I'm talking about it now. So let's start with the idea that I know there'll be people outside the UK who might be thinking that a little local spat with a journalist leaking some confidential papers is a parochial subject that involves only a small island off the coast of the European mainland. But it doesn't. It's far bigger than that. It's of world-shattering importance. And as I said in my last video, the last one I did on the Oakeshott affair, despite my personal opinions of her character, she's done the world a great service. She's done Britain a great service, but she's done the world a great service as well, if it's a gift you are prepared to accept. I'm not saying it was done out of any great nobility or selflessness, but for all that, as theologians have said about the biblical character of Samson, God may not choose the most perfect instrument to fulfill his purposes. And this glimpse into a government which has seized hitherto unimaginable power in a democracy is not only the revenge of the people, but it's a whole new psychological field which academics, if they have any sense, will be ploughing for years to come, because the harvests will be rich and beneficial to us all, if they'll take it up. And, of course, if the universities and the institutions will let them talk about it. And that might be a problem, because the universities have been colonised by the political left. And it's become apparent that the political left has revved into high gear in a determined attempt to sideline and delegitimise Oakeshott and all the work she's done. And this is Granniopteryx interrupting herself to tell you that I am on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I'm also on Twitter, Gab and Parler, where I am at Granniopteryx, and on those platforms I let you know when I've uploaded a new video. Let's see what else. Yes, of course, don't forget to like this video and to share it and to subscribe, and if you're watching this on YouTube, check your subscription is still active. You can help me financially, buy me a coffee, or there are other links. All the links I've spoken about in the description, wherever that turns up on your browser. Okay, back to the Oakeshott affair. Now, you know, any reasonable person, at least I consider myself a reasonable person, and I was asking why? Why would they do this? It's something I've been puzzling over myself. Well, so let's look at it. It's I don't know, 100% certain that exactly the same shenanigans were going on in every government around the world, anywhere in the world. Does anyone listening to this think that the British government was especially bad or worse? With one or two notable exceptions, if the conversations in the government of the USA or Canada or New Zealand or Austria or France, anywhere at all, as I said, with a couple of exceptions, if their conversations could have been exposed in the same way as the Oakeshott papers have exposed the Conservative government, do you think they'd be substantially different from what we've seen, what was going on in the British government? Do you think they'd have there wouldn't have been laughing comments about the poor people who were locked up, or disparaging comments about people who wouldn't fall for their story? Do you honestly think that? If you do, then, you probably don't belong in this channel, because I believe that all my viewers, the regular ones anyway, have a realistic view of human nature. So let's get back to the attacks that the left are making on this information. There was a recent interview between Oakeshott and Cathy Newman. Now, anyone who's familiar with Jordan Peterson will know that Cathy Newman is the lobster of unintelligent wokery. And in her interview with Oakeshott, she seemed to think that speculating on what Oakeshott might have earned from her sale of the Hancock story would in any way undermine the truth of what the story revealed. And it's quite obvious that she wanted to divert the argument away from, again, what the story had shown up. Now, you'd think the right would be more interested in this than the left, wouldn't you? Because this is definitely going to impact the results of the next election, to the detriment of the right, of course. So all of this is giving our Labour Party a huge boost. So why are the media not dancing in the streets and letting off balloons? For your information, all you people unlucky enough to be living outside these islands, I can tell you that no, the left are singularly muffled, or they're asking awkward questions about Oakeshott. And believe me, well, as you know, there are many awkward questions you can ask about that person. But it's the Telegraph, that bastion of rightward politics. It's the Telegraph that published this story with so much glee. I have to admit that it did puzzle me when I realised. And in my previous video, I was speculating about why Oakeshott didn't trot along to the Guardian with her documents. Any reasonable person, well, I think I'm a reasonable person, would have assumed that the Guardian, with its impeccably left-leaning credentials, would have been more interested in putting a spike into the election prospects of the Conservative Party than the Telegraph would. But now, judging by the attacks on Oakeshott that we're seeing from the left in particular, well, she obviously had more political nous than I did. Perhaps she realised the Guardian would suppress the whole story tale if they got control of it. So I've been puzzling about why this might be happening, and the only answer I can come up with is because the left is committed to the idea of government. Government in capital letters. Government with a huge G at the beginning. And the truth isn't as important as the principle that government knows best. Government knows best, and only government can guide us. You see that in Sir Keir Starmer's recent speeches to the British people. They're trying to capitalise on what's been going on, and I just looked up a couple of them. I just typed into Google, only the Labour Party can, and then straight away I got this, can deliver a government that Scotland needs. And the other one I found was, can give Britain a fresh start. I won't go into the really important issues that he's ignoring in those speeches, but what I am talking about here is the idea the left have that they have sole proprietorship over the magic bullet that will make life marvellous. And that's a view shared by the media as much as the Labour Party. So, although anyone would know that the information revealed in the Hancock papers would do specific damage to the Conservative government, the left are shocked, because what Oakeshott has done is not so much attack the Tories in particular, as she has attacked the idea of the probity of any government, the reliability of any government, rather. She's exposed the fact that any group which has authority, and I'm including the Labour Party that had parties during lockdown just as much as the Conservatives, even though the left media hasn't made so much of a fuss about it. And I'm also referring to those photos which shocked me of the Oscars in Hollywood, and it showed all the servants wearing face coverings, but all the stars with nothing on at all, as if they were some sort of superior being that didn't transmit diseases. As I said, any group which is given any authority, either political or moral, is subject to the same immoral pressures, the corruption and the feedback loops coming from the wielding of that authority, that unchallenged authority. And that's a truth that the left simply cannot countenance. And that's why they're attacking Oakeshott with such vehemence. All right, well, I probably will give that subject a rest after this one. Okay, till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.